I think it's time.
It is.
Oh, you 70? We'll call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Tuesday, July 5th, 2022 to order. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe.
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell. Here. Commissioner Smith. Here. Commissioner Liner.
Here.
Commissioner Mark.
Here.
Vice Chairman Bucher. Chairman Jones.
Here. If you will, please let's stand together as we salute and pledge to the American flag, and I ask that you remain standing for a prayer by our county attorney. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As Independence Day is celebrated in our communities, we praise you and bless you, Lord God, for the birth, life, and continuing development of this great nation, the United States of America. Whenever and wherever in the cause of human events, courage and commitment calls a people to take a stand on self-evident truths, we rejoice. Before you and in you, the Creator, all are created equal. Endowed by you, the Creator, with certain unalienable rights, we as a people accept as well certain responsibilities to protect and defend always for ourselves and for others life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With a firm reliance as the protection of your divine providence, we renew our pledge today to serve this nation, knowing full well that the power of this assembly is derived from the consent of the governed. In you we place our solemn trust, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. I want to welcome each of you this evening to the Board of Commissioners meeting. This is your meeting, and those who may be viewing online. I would ask for those that are in attendance with us, please make sure that your phones are on vibrate so they would not disrupt this meeting this evening. Commissioners, you have there before you your agenda. Are there any items you desire to add or pull from tonight's agenda? Hear none. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Moved.
We have a motion and a second from Commissioner Smith. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Commissioners, if you will allow for Chairman's privilege just a moment before we proceed to agenda items tonight, I would like to recognize a special guest we have with us, Ms. Rella Cruel. She has been chosen to attend the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Convention with many of us that will be going here in August. And she will be the youth voice representative from Craven County. I'd like to ask her if she would please come forward. She's going to make a comment or two. And then also as part of what she has to do to apply for this opportunity that she has, she needs a picture with the Board of Commissioners. And so we will ask our board after she makes those comments to please let's accommodate her. So good evening. Glad to have you.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. I'm in the 10th grade. Well, my name is Rella Kroll, you already know. And I'm in the 10th grade, and I attend Craven Early College here in New Bern. I'm chosen to represent the New Bern Boys and Girls Club Teen Center at the Youth Voice 2022 Summit. I look forward to attending the summit and representing the club and Craven County community. Thank you.
We thank you for your interest. And at this time, how you want let's do the picture, Ms. Lauren?
I guess if you guys would all just stand up here.
If I think if just these three move, they could stay behind, and then
Stand behind them.
yeah, and y'all
All right.
three move in
If you don't
front.
mind, you come right here and stand in the middle, and they'll surround you. However y'all want to do it. Y'all want to get it around to here?
Yeah, that looks really
Yeah, that looks good.
That looks really nice. Here we go. Okay. Lots of pictures. Lots of things. Okay, well, in the back, move just a little bit. Perfect. Okay, over here.
All right, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you there.
we also appreciate her family that's here in attendance with her also this evening. Thank you. Commissioners, the first agenda item we have this evening is a public hearing concerning the family subdivision. I'm going to ask Mr. Baumgartner will come forward, just make a few opening comments, and then we'll entertain the motion to open the public hearing. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. The proposal that we are looking to amend the subdivision ordinance for is what we call a family subdivision provision. It is dealing with the division of a tract of land which would otherwise be classified as a subdivision hereunder, wherein the grantee is a family member of the grantor. So that would be one of the provisions that would need to be considered for a family subdivision. The resulting lots that would comply with the standards of the subdivision requirements would need to ensure that all the requirements are met with the exception of a right-of-way easement requirement. So the resulting lots that would be served would be pertinent to the right-of-way or easement, and it would need to be at least 20 feet in width and not to exceed serving 4 residential lots or parcels. And lastly, there would need to be a requirement that the private road disclosure would have to be provided to the individual that would end up getting, the family individual that would end up getting the actual lot itself, disclosing that no one maintains the road. It would be considered a private road, and it would be up to them to maintain the road itself forever until such time that the road could be improved with pavement. That at that time, with pavement and right-of-way, they could come back and petition to have the state add the road. For the purposes of the ordinance, we're looking at the term family member shall mean a spouse, parent, child, brother, sister, grandparent, or grandchild. The term includes the step, half, and in-law relationships. That's pretty much what we're looking at to under consideration for the family subdivision provision.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I make a motion to
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we now stand in public hearing. Commissioner Mark, do we have anyone that signed up?
no.
All right. I would give the opportunity for anyone that would be in attendance that you may not have had the opportunity to sign up. Do you want to make any comments concerning this public hearing on family subdivision?
I make a motion to go out of public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion to close and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, thank you. Next would be the petition of citizens for agenda topics. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make remarks. This is only on agenda topics. And Mr. Commissioner Mark?
We don't have anybody for agenda except for at the end.
Okay, general topics, okay? All right, we will move to item 3, the consent agenda. You have there on the consent agenda the minutes of June 20th, 2022 regular session. You have tax releases and refunds, recreation and parks, Cherry Point Spouse Club grant, and then a sheriff's office donation check. Are there any items that you desire to pull from the consent agenda this evening?
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda as is. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, next would be agenda item number 4, departmental matters. We have this evening with us Mr. Jeffrey Merritt, who will be bringing forth the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 funding. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. We bring before you an amendment to add funds from the American Rescue Plan Act that was disseminated through the state. They received approximately over $15 million
Thank you.
to help with the provision of administration to the SNAP program. DHHS is allocating $10 million to county to support our efforts as we continue to see workload increases in this program as related to the result of increased food security due to the pandemic. We do have plans on how to utilize these funds, which we've spoken with the state about. They give us our approval, and we would ask that amount of $92,029 be included in our budget, as that was the amount that was appropriated to Craven County.
All right, before we entertain the motion, are there any questions for Mr. Merritt? Commissioner
This is
Mitchell.
a mandated item.
Food nutrition services is a mandated
Yeah,
program.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It says the department is planning to use these funds to contract with merit-based employees. I don't know how to read that. Is that overtime?
Well, these are employees outside of our department, Commissioner Mitchell, because of we're seeing a pretty high demand and workload increases to try to help cover some of those functions that are in this program in order to meet the timeliness of applications and also recertifications.
Right. No, my question is, are these county employees from other departments? Are these contractor employees?
These are contracted employees through a temporary agency, but a lot of these individuals do work at other county departments of social services, and that this is a pretty unique work that's done. So really, you can't just, it's hard, it would not be a good use of funds to try to get someone, use some money to train them when there's people already to be trained due to the amount of time it takes someone to train.
You need people who already know what they're doing.
Right, we want them to come in and on the first day, we're all working under the same policy procedures, so they can come in and start doing the work immediately instead of paying them to be trained and then possibly not having any more money to continue to employ them to do the work, and then they hadn't done any, we just paid to train.
All right, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying.
All right, any additional questions? All right, here none, do we have a motion?
Motion.
All right, we have a motion
Second.
and a second to approve the additional funding of $92,029. Any discussion on the motion? Here no further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe,
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Liner.
Yes.
Commissioner Mark.
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Merritt.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. All right, item 5 is planning. Mr. Baumgartner, he has 2 items this evening. The first would be the consideration of the family subdivision provision.
Yes, sir. When we had the public hearing, I went through and discussed the items. There's basically 4 items that would be added. One, a family member would have to be the grantor. You would also have to go through all the requirements of the subdivision ordinance except right-of-way. The resulting lots would have to abut the right-of-way and be 20 feet, an easement of 20 feet to be able to gain access to the property. And there would have to be a private road disclosure. In order to move on with this particular proposal, we would need to have a motion from the board to adopt the family subdivision review process.
So moved.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Second.
Madam Clerk, you got the motion second? All right. Discussion on the motion for the adoption of this subdivision change. The only comment I would make is that, Commissioners, this is something we've been working on now for probably 6 to 8 months. Commissioner Mark, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner McCabe, we all know that we've got folks in the rural parts of the county that it will assist families that our property. And so I would appreciate a positive vote on this. I think it will have a positive impact on many citizens in this county. Any further discussion? Hear none, we'll call for a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the adoption signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, item B.
Item B is a subdivision for your consideration tonight called the Stately Pines Village. It's located in Township 6. Its property is owned by Kern Company out of Maryland. The surveying was done by Josh Nobles and engineering by Thomas Engineering. It consists of 9 lots on approximately 5.43 acres, and each of the lots are going to be adjoining the state road, Robertson Lane. The lots also will be served by the county water system and the New Bern sewer system that is currently located in that area. In order for the subdivision to be recorded, a motion is needed to approve the subdivision.
All right.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Stately Pines Village subdivision final. Discussion from the board. Don, I have, I know we have a citizen in the room tonight that has expressed a little bit of concern over this.
Okay.
As far as, you go with us, if you will, just a little bit about it, as far as, are they going to be using the Robertson Lane to, as far as ingress, egress?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That is a state road.
Was it, when it was it built to standards? I mean, you say it's a state road, so I was expecting it's built to standards, but do you feel like it was built to specifications to handle this additional folks that will be living there?
Yes, sir, I do think so. The state does have their minimum subdivision requirements, and if you build the road to those requirements and they inspect it and they turn it over through the Board of Transportation to be added to the state system for maintenance, then certainly it should have the ability to support the traffic that's on it. And the state would provide the necessary maintenance. If it has problems, the state would come out and make the repairs necessary to the asphalt or to the drainage that would need to be made.
Which commissioner represents this? Commissioner Liner? Might it be appropriate, Commissioner Liner? I know there's somebody in the audience that I don't think had the opportunity to speak with you maybe prior to this. Would you desire to let's maybe just for you to have the opportunity to speak to them, maybe hear their concerns before we vote on this?
She can come up and speak. I mean, I've gone through it and I've been out there. I mean, this is just the first of a number. Hopefully.
All right. You have to, we've got a motion and a second on the floor. I'm just, trying to.
She's going to speak. If she signed up does she sign up to speak at the later one?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, she hasn't talked to me about it, and I haven't heard anything from anybody out there about it. I've been out there and I've seen it. I know what he's doing. I mean, I know it's not going to go, but I don't see where this board has any authority over it because the planning board passed it and it met state requirements. So it's going to be hard pressed.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the board? All right. We have a motion and a second on the floor to approve this subdivision of Stately Pines. Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask you if you will please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes?
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
No. All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. All right. We will move to the item 6 would be Sheriff Chip Hughes, and I think we have with us also Captain John Rayner. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, got two things before you all this evening. The first is a truck donation, a very generous donation by two citizens in Craven County that has helped us out in the past with a vehicle as well, another truck that was put in our K-9 division. And this couldn't come at a better time because I've had vehicles on order now for almost a year, and we still don't know when we'll receive them. They will remain to be hard to get for quite some time, and nobody can really give us a time frame on that. So they've donated a 2020 Ford. We're going to ask that y'all accept that into our fleet and assume just the responsibilities of any vehicle that comes into our fleet for upfitting, maintenance, those sort of things.
All right. Any questions from the board or Sheriff?
So moved.
Second?
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the truck donation. Any discussion on the motion? And if I'm correct, Sheriff, I think these individuals have also donated a truck prior. Is that
Yes, sir,
correct?
another truck, and
Great contribution, and
they will not let me mention their name as much as I'd like to.
I think you please relate to
Very humble people.
please relate to them on behalf of the Board of Commissioners. That we appreciate it. All right, we have the motion and second. Here, no further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, item B.
Yes, sir. This one is an Internet Crimes Against Children or an ICAC grant. that we work closely with some of the General Assembly on providing the specifics of the grant, and it's administered by the Sheriff's Association. It's in the amount of $48,577. It's fully funded, and I've asked Captain Rayner, who helped put this grant together, to speak about what the men and women of his division, which is the Criminal Investigative Division, how they'll be using this technology and equipment.
All right, thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. So the ICAT grant that we've asked for is basically geared at the investigators who go after child pornography, the dissemination and creation of, as well as any predators who stalk children online through chat groups. We average 5 to 10 tips a month on ICAT cases, with 3 to 4 arrests a month for ICAT cases that come in. The items that we've asked for, one is the interview room system, which upgrades the system we currently have, a camera system, to a better system that's more user-friendly and it has better storage capabilities, and it also is just more functionality. The current system we have is somewhat antiquated and has some issues where we've had lost recordings of interviews. And then the biggest item in the list is a forensic computer that will allow us to download, dump computers, laptops, cell phones. Currently takes us roughly 3 hours to drop a cell phone, take all data from a cell phone. That is an average cell phone. The computer we're asking for takes about 22 minutes to dump the same thing. Laptops take anywhere from 4 to 10 hours, depending on how much data stored on them. We can do them in less than an hour. And then the rest of it is storage devices for cell phones and laptops. If they lose power once we seize them for search warrant purposes, they lock themselves out, which makes them unobtainable at that point for us. The 2 items in there for storage is to keep them powered in a safe mode so that we can't lose the data it maintains. It also prevents anybody from accessing them remotely to wipe them on us. And then the additional is the training. For the Cellbrite system, which is the phone and laptop dump system, which we got last year, approved last year we use, that allows us to break phones and laptops and actually retrieve data that's stored on them primarily.
All right, any questions?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to approve the grant in the amount of $48,578. Discussion, Commissioner Smith.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, ma'am.
First, my first question, certainly this is much needed. My first question is are these funds enough money to fully fund the program?
Yes, ma'am. So
And-
that will fund everything we're asking for.
Okay, and are you going to need additional funds to sustain this program?
No, so the computer is self-sufficient. There's no additional on that other than IT setting it up for us. The data storage devices are no additional cost. Cellbrite is an annual renewal, which part of this grant was we covered 1-year renewal on it, but that is something that when we got that last year.
That's already in the budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is
Good. Thank you.
everything else is one-time purchase.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, here none, you have there before you the budget amendment of $48,578 for the grant. Here no further discussion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe, Yes. Commissioner Mitchell,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Liner,
Yes.
Commissioner Mark,
Yes.
Chairman Jones.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Sheriff, before you leave, do you got anything you want to share with us this evening?
Just, we had a quiet 4th of July. We had all available personnel out there, just given what's been going on in the nation and some of the threats. But no credible threats in this area. Everybody was out. I think every community that we visited was having a good time. They were doing it safely. Had a lot of stuff going on downtown New Bern, and our people supported the city of New Bern on that. So,
Thank you. Appreciate your service. All right, next we have Mr. Stanley Kite from Emergency Services, who has 2 items this evening to bring before the board. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. First item I have for you is Emergency Services received a grant from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, and we have a budget amendment item before you. So the grant award was $101,530. At the time this grant was applied for when we actually received the grant. However, from the pricing and the budgetary process and to where we are today, there was an extra cost due to the availability of supplies and items listed in the original pricing, which increased the trailer to $103,121. You see that budget amendment request in your packet, and it's containing a trailer that we had requested for the 25-foot fire station, meeting ADA requirements to be able to help with personal hygiene, both in shelter operations as well as when we have large-scale emergencies where we may have an overhead team or a forward team, and we don't have adequate facilities sometimes readily available. Here in Florida, we looked at trying to rent some, and they were not available. And we got lucky and got one or two pulled in from other regions, but then they were short-term loaners, and we felt like having the opportunity to get a grant to have one of our own in county would be very beneficial.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Kite? All right, hear none, do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the grant of $101,530, but we would take $1,591 out of fund balance, giving a total of $103,121. Any further discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, item B.
Item B is the North Carolina Department of Insurance. As you know, every year they have an opportunity for what we call the matching fire grant. And historically, the county has been gracious in helping these departments that were successful applicants in obtaining the grant to be able to match those grants. And this year, I have several departments represented. I would like to say that the Dover Fire Chief was a little apprehensive whether or not he was going to be able to make it here in time to be with you tonight. But as you see, these grants total $325,544 to help with the match. But I would like to give them an opportunity to come up before you in case you have any questions. First on the order would be Little Swift Creek Volunteer Fire Department, which is recipient for $29,882.
Good evening, sir.
Did you have any questions about what we're getting on our grant?
If you will, just very briefly, and everybody can, just go over your list just very briefly and just share with us some of the items that you approved.
So we're getting 2 drop tanks, 4 sets of SCBA bottles, packs, 5 sets of turnout gear, and 2 nozzles.
Okay. All right. Any questions as far as Little Swift Creek? Jack, you want to let's handle this all as one, or you want to do them on an individual basis?
Stanley and I were debating that out in the hallway. It's really the board's choice, but it might be easier just to go ahead and approve them.
Okay,
Here,
as
and
we
then
go
get the
through.
budget amendment at the end.
All right. All right. Any questions for Little Swift Creek? All right. Hear none. Do we have a motion that?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the matching grant of $29,882. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. You happen to be kin to that Mr. Griffin over there? Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry I did not introduce you. Change of administration.
I'm sorry. I saw Griffin there, so I didn't know if there was two of them. All right. Different.
It's a change, just spell it.
All right.
Next, I have Vanceboro Fire Department, which is recipient of $14,788. Chief Lewis is here to have that discussion.
Good evening, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Our list of items, Stacy Lewis, Chief of Vanceboro Fire Department. Our list of items we got approved for grant was 30 buckets of foam. All that will replace about half of the foam we have now has the cancer-causing agent that they've come up with now. So there'll be 30 buckets of foam purchased, supposed to be cancer-free. So that'll replace all of our older stuff. 5 SCBA cylinders, 10 traffic vests, our turnout gear, coats, pants, helmets, gloves, and 10 pagers for communication.
All right.
So moved. Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to approve the grant of $14,788 for Vanceboro Fire Department. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right. Thank you, Stacy.
Mr. Chair, it's been a long time coming that I have tonight Cove City Volunteer Fire Department received a grant of $28,140. I have Chief Allen here and his president.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. Thank you, Commissioners. Yeah, like I said, a long time coming. We're extremely proud to say that we received a grant. Basically, what we're looking at buying is 6 complete air pack bottles, masks, the whole 9 yards, and an additional 6 SCBA bottles.
What's the whole 9 yours? It's big.
Air pack bottle, mask.
It's all 9 yours now. It could be anything. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve Coast City Volunteer Fire Department for $28,140. Any discussion on the motion? I do have to make a comment about this one because I think this is monumental tonight. I first come on the Board of Commissioners elected in 2006. We started having discussions in 2007. Stanley and I did with Coast City. So you could get to this point tonight. And here we are in 2022. And I appreciate both of you gentlemen for your leadership in making this happen. Both of you have worked hard, but I know you have. Yes, you and I have talked on the phone a lot. And I think this Board of Commissioners, you did what we asked you to do. And so thank you.
Thank you.
So any further discussion? Here none. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Chairman, if you will allow, since the Dover chief has not made it here yet, I did not want to hold your meeting up. Dover was awarded $29,992. Their item list contains low-level strainers for drafting water, the 5 self-contained breathing apparatus face masks, which is the air packs and stuff that they have to use when they have to enter a hazardous atmosphere, 4 spare bottles for those packs, but also the new valve, 10 fire hose, which is sections of hose, and then they got the complete SCBA units themselves with the mask, bottle, and frame, 6 turnout gear, boots, which are at the NFPA compliant, then 2 coats, 6 sets of gloves, again another 6 sets of gloves, and 2 order of 5 helmets, and then 6 helmets, which are just different types, and then 6 turnout gear hoods, and 2 turnout gear pants, not for technical rescue. It's the list that they have been granted.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve Dover Volunteer Fire Department for $29,992. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. All right, thank you.
I have Chief Milligan here to represent the Fort Baltimore Volunteer Fire Department, which received $30,000, which is full amount.
Good evening.
Good evening, Craven Milligan, Fire Chief at Fort Baltimore Volunteer Fire Department. Chairman Jones, Commissioners, County Manager's Office. First, I'd like to thank y'all for the support that y'all have given to the first responder, fire, EMS, law enforcement, and let's not forget our dispatchers. Before you see a list of equipment that we have that totals $63,435. We received the $30,000 from the state. Have an intake valve for our new engine 3401. Have some scene lights, flashlights, 5 portable radios, 6 sets of turnout gear boots, 4 full sets of turnout gear, 12 gloves, and 10 hoods. You don't have any questions on that?
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hear no discussion, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. And this is for Fort Baltimore Volunteer Fire Department for $30,000.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Before I leave, as president of the Firemen's Association, I would like to thank y'all in the work that the county has done in transferring the land back to the county at the industrial park, and future hopes of developing a public safety training facility. I don't know if y'all just recently saw Carteret County Community College just received a very well grant from the state in hopes that someday we'll have something like that in our industrial park. And again, I thank y'all on behalf of all the fire chiefs in Craven County. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Chairman, next I have number 9, Fire and Rescue, which will be represented tonight by Mr. Roger Withington. And I apologize, their recipient was for $29,970.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Excuse me for putting on my sunglasses, but when I got out of the truck, I didn't put my other glasses on, and if I don't, I can't see a thing. So, just to let you know, and again, thank y'all so much for what y'all do for us. So we're getting radios. We're going to get some 800 communications. That's pagers, thermal imaging cameras, some electrical equipment for that will help us on our battery storage stuff. Some vests, personal protective, gear bags, turnout gear. Excuse me. Personal protective with gloves, helmets, personal protective with fire hoods, personal protection stuff with rescue incidents, and a RIC bag in case that we need to go in and rescue some of our people out of thing.
So move.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. And this is for number 9, Fire and Rescue for $29,970.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Thank y'all, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes my list of departments that received grants. And I would like to say, I express my appreciation for your support because this helps them tremendously. As you can imagine how much the gear costs, it helps them be able to be adequately prepared and protected and personal protective equipment. And at the overall end of the day, the goal is to be sure to ensure the homeowner has a reduction in their home insurance. And I'd like to say all these departments so far have done a great job in doing that, especially as tight as it is with volunteers. I'd just like to recommend that you understand that it's tough for everybody and that they are really doing a great job. And thank you for your support.
Yes, we do want to thank all of you, and please relay to your individual departments the appreciation of the Board of Commissioners for your sacrifice that you make of time and also your own treasure. We appreciate that, so thank you.
Mr. Chairman, item 7B is the budget amendment, which allocates the money for the grants you just approved.
All right, the budget amendment total there would be $325,544. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes. Thank you. All right, agenda item 8 is appointments. You have there under appointments, you have pending, current, and upcoming. Under pending, you have the Craven Aging Planning Board. Commissioner Liner, we're still working on that one?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have the Craven County Board of Adjustments and the Voluntary Agricultural District. All right, under current, we have tonight 2 appointments for the Board of Equalization and Review. The first one would be Mr. Joe Fogelman, who represents Commissioner Mark's district.
I would we're going for the 12 years now.
Yep.
I would reappoint them for the 2 years.
Okay, we have a nomination for Joe Fogelman and these would be taken on individual for commissioners' districts. So for District 1, do we have any further nominations for that? Hear none, with Joe Fogelman will be accepted by acclamation. Then we have for District 3, Commissioner Smith's district, Mr. Jimmy Dillahunt. Commissioner Smith, you want to reappoint him?
Yes.
Okay. We have a nomination for Mr. Dillahunt. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? Hear none, Mr. Dillahunt will also be accepted by acclamation. All right. Next, we have the Newbern Planning and Zoning. Commissioners, I'm going to ask you, if you would, let's defer this to the next meeting. We do have a list there. We have been working on
Yeah, we have one coming up.
an individual for that, and we should have it at the next meeting. Is that a consensus?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next would be the Fire Tax Commissioners Board for Harlow Township 5, Commissioner McCabe.
Mr. Chair, could defer it to the next meeting?
Okay, we'll defer.
I'm waiting to receive his application.
Okay. Hear no objection. We will move next to the Craven County Clean Sweep. You have an applicant, Ms. Sharon Logan, who seeks appointment. What's the desire of the board?
Why don't we, did you happen to call on that, Nan?
Did I call the?
I mean, do you know anything about that?
I know that she's recommended by,
All right, I would make a recommendation.
Okay, we have the nomination of Ms. Logan. Are there any additional nominations? Hear none, she will be accepted by acclamation. Next, we have the River Bend Board of Adjustment. Commissioner Mitchell.
Yes, sir, and my understanding is Rick Fisher does wish to be reappointed, so I
Okay.
would like to nominate him.
Okay, we have the nomination of Rick Fisher. Are there any additional nominations? Hearing none, we will accept Mr. Fisher by acclamation. Next, we have the Craven County ABC Board. We will also would like to take this by Commissioner's District. We have the first from District 1, Mr. Chip Chagnon. Commissioner Mark.
I would recommend that he be reappointed as chairman for 1 year.
Okay, if we can, let's take just his reappointment to the board first.
Yep, reappointment.
Okay, so we have a nomination for Mr. Chagnon for District 1. Are there any additional nominations? Hear none, he will be accepted by acclamation. Then we have Commissioner Booker, who represents his district. I would ask that we renominate Mr. Commissioner Booker.
I would.
Okay, are there additional nominations from the floor? Hear none. And then we have Ms. Kathleen Cook, who represents District 6. Commissioner Liner.
Renominate.
Okay, we have a nomination, Ms. Cook. Are there any additional nominations from the floor? All right, Ms. Cook will be accepted by acclamation. All right, now, Commissioner Mark, we have the Craven County ABC Board appointment for the chairperson for a 1-year term.
I would recommend Chip Chagnon. For
Okay, we have the nomination.
Second.
We had a nomination of Mr. Chip Chagnon. Any additional nominations from the board? Hear none, he will be accepted by acclamation. All right, next you have the National Association of Counties. We need to appoint a voting delegate. I think the only commissioner that will be attending this year is Commissioner Liner. And so I would ask that the board, if you would, to let's nominate Commissioner Liner.
Definitely.
So moved.
Okay. Hear no additional nominations. He will be our appointee to serve. Next would be the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. We need to appoint a voting delegate. Commissioners, I know there's several of us that are attending. I've talked to individual commissioners, and we've got to get some scheduling worked out. I would like to ask if the board would allow for me to have the authority to designate out of that list of commissioners that attend who would be our voting delegate.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Any other suggestions? Here, no. All right, we'll take that. All right, you see the upcoming terms that will be expiring in July. Please take note of them and for the commissioners' districts in which they represent. Are there any additional appointments to be made tonight? All right, here none, we will next move to the county attorney's report. Mr. Ari Grady. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I have 3 items for your consideration this evening. All 3 involve county-owned real estate. The first item is for 2502 New Bern Avenue. It involves the final approval of a parcel after the expiration of the upset bid process. This is a parcel that we acquired through the tax foreclosure program. The bid is in the amount of $5,000. The upset period has now expired. The original taxes and cost of foreclosure were $3,717.58. The tax value on the property is $5,000. We own this property jointly with the city of New Bern, and New Bern has already given final approval to the matter, so I would suggest that the board likewise give.
I make a motion we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution approving the conveyance of parcel number 8-037-102. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Item B.
The second item is an initial purchase offer for 2510 Georgia Avenue. It is in the city of New Bern, and we do own it jointly with the city of New Bern, which has already given its preliminary approval to the proposal, which is an offer amount of $8,000. You have a tax value of $13,500, and the original taxes and cost of foreclosure were $8,889.78. If the board approves this, it will be put out for upset bids and brought back to the board for final approval, and I do recommend the board consider final
So moved.
approval.
Second.
All right, we have the motion and second to approve the bidding process and authorize for the upset bid for partial number 8-018-123. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item C.
Yes, sir. The final item is another initial offer to purchase. It is at 801 Chautauqua Lane. I'm sure I mispronounced that, but it is spelled correctly in your agenda packet. It is in the city of New Bern. We do own it jointly with the city of New Bern, which has already given its initial approval to the sale. The offer amount is in the amount of $12,000 with past due taxes and cost of foreclosure of $9,776.06, and we have a tax value of $15,000. As with the one you just approved, if the board approves it tonight, we'll put it out for upset bids, and it'll be brought back before the board for final approval in a couple of weeks. And I do recommend that the board consider final.
Move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, we have the motion and a second to adopt the resolution approving the transaction and authorizing the upset bid process with partial number 8-022-081. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. All right, next, Commissioners, we have the petition of citizens for general topics. Again, each speaker will have a lot of time of 3 minutes to make remarks. Commissioner Mark.
Yes, we have, do you want to have Ray?
Yep.
Ray.
Mr. Ray Griffin.
He's still there, right? Griffin, come up.
Good evening, sir. If you will, state your name and address for the record, please, if you don't mind.
First of all, I'm proud to be American. Amen? A lot of people aren't. And all I can say is just have to go somewhere if they don't like it. God bless you, Ray Griffin, North Carolina, from Bethel, North Carolina. But the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade and eliminated the federal right to abortion. This has been 50 years in the making. We need to do everything we can to protect the rights of the unborn. Abortion is still legal in North Carolina until 20 weeks. The only way we can change this is for to go to the North Carolina legislation to pass a new bill for the governor to sign it. Look at abortion. The Vietnam Memorial Wall has 68,000 names on it. It stretches 560 feet. If we were to build a similar memorial for the little babies who have died since Roe v. Wade, it would have 45 million names on it, and it would stretch over 63 miles. Let's make Craven County a sanctuary for the unborn. We need to consider to declare Craven County a sanctuary for the unborn. A sanctuary county for the unborn is an ordinance that tries to outlaw abortions in the county. In the coming election, we've talked about this, that we need to support a proposal for a constitutional amendment to make abortion illegal in North Carolina. We need to make abortion an ongoing issue of the November election to motivate voters across the political spectrum to go to the polls. Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson has likened abortion to murder and urged lawmakers to restrict the medical procedure. He also stated lawmakers should push to ensure abortion is no longer legal for any reason. Time is running out. You commissioners need to call our state lawmakers to immediately take up this issue and say that we support North Carolina to block all abortions. I know it's a federal law, but I know y'all can put something in to have a good outcome and say that we support that North Carolina become a state that does not believe in abortions. If we ever needed an election this year to change things around, to put some good people in office and to make things change, we need to do it today. And the reason why I say this is we need to go ahead and get you to work on this. It's because we're only, 4 or 5 months away from voting. And we need some good people in Raleigh to support this abortion issue. And anyhow, God bless you once again. I say I'm proud to be an American. I hate what is going on in the world today. We're seeing so much just violence, shootings on 4th of July. But hopefully we can get some more political people that are in good standings and will stand up for what is right and do what is right. Amen. God bless all of you. Appreciate the freedom we have to be able to come here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else signed up?
That's it.
Mark? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, next item would be the county manager's report. Mr. Vite.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, appreciate the opportunity. Just a couple updates. Today's one of my favorite days of the year, which is the new fiscal year started today. First work day of that. So we're starting the new budget that was just adopted. Mr. Warren and his team of finance have worked very hard to get everything ready to go, and as far as I know, it opened up today. I also wanted to report the Dick Center. Commissioner Liner may want to talk a little bit about it. At your next meeting, we will bring forward the commitment that we make every year, or every other year, excuse me, to the Dick Center, which is a 3-county partnership for the facility in Jacksonville. We have requested this be a 1-year commitment this year. I believe Commissioner Liner mentioned that. It will be on your next agenda. So if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to Commissioner Liner or myself. We'll be happy to fill you in. Commissioner Liner, I did look at the last data from last month, and I did see that the usage was maintaining at a pretty strong level from what we'd seen previously. So there is still usage from Craven County there. We do, and I was made aware today, and it came up awful quick, there are elections starting on Thursday for the city of New Bern in the runoff. So there will be one-stop voting here, just to make you aware of that as you come. There may be parking issues from time to time, but we do have a lot of faith in our election staff. They do a great job, and they are ready to go for Thursday. Last week, enjoyed a nice ride around with Commissioner Smith through her district. We went and looked at some areas that she wanted to focus on coming up with the next year, so we had a good time with that. Looked at a lot of different areas in her district. And I did want to, and I don't see Mr. Hodges. I don't know if he stepped in or not. He stepped in for just a second. I do want to take the opportunity, my last remark, well, second to last remark, is that tomorrow is Gene's 50th birthday. So I told him I would embarrass him publicly, one thing he asked me not to do. So tomorrow he will have a big birthday. So happy birthday to you, Gene. And Commissioners, just a reminder, your next meeting on July 18th will be rather lengthy. There were some things that we had held over some of our budget workshops that will be taken up at that meeting, Mr. Chairman. So that's all my comments. Unless you have questions.
Any questions for the county manager?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Commissioner's report. We can this evening. Let's start. Commissioner McKay, you have anything?
No, it's present time.
Okay. Commissioner Smith.
I do appreciate our county manager and his staff riding around with me last week, taking a look at my area. My area is mostly in the city, and many things we cannot do that we would like to do for the people in my area. However, we have the commitment of making every effort to look at our properties and our areas and see if there's something that can be done, even if we contact some volunteers to do some things. I very much appreciate that, and not just the manager, but all the other folk that went with me and took a look at my areas. There are a lot of needs there, and we know there's some things that we cannot do, but we appreciate trying to do what we can.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Liner.
Sir, I only have one thing. Last Thursday, I attended the change of command at Cherry Point. The new CG for Second Mall is Major General Benedict. Sharp individual, great credentials. It'll be good move.
It's good. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, happy 4th of July. Happy America's Independence Day. Since much of my district includes the city of New Bern, I would ask that all citizens please exercise your rights as Americans and go to the polls and vote as you so choose. And third, and this is the big one, the North Carolina Military Affairs Commission has launched a statewide public relations campaign to educate our citizens on the value of the second largest economic sector in the state. We will have a kickoff press conference on the 12th of July in Raleigh. Initial focus will be in the Triangle area for most of our advertising, but we've been saying we were going to ramp up and do this, and we launch on the 12th of July.
That's good. Thank you for your service. All right, Commissioner Mark.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Number one, Ray Leggett is no longer president of the hospital.
We have a new president, but I think we should congratulate Ray for all he did for the citizens of this county, and that we have a cancer center, which is going very well. And in the area of the heart, I don't think there's a better hospital in around Raleigh, even with Raleigh, that has the success that we've had with heart patients. And the new president is Michael Smith, which we will get to know at our next meeting, which would be next Tuesday, I guess. Also, I did attend a Highway 70 meeting, which part of it was on Highway 70. As you can see, Highway 70 has been started, and it's probably going to take, they say, 2.5 years. I would say more like 3 years. But in addition to that, they talked about resiliency, and that's a study on how we can stop the flooding in the counties, highways and roads and housing. I wasn't impressed by that because that study goes on for 2 or 5 years, and we could have a hurricane tomorrow. But one of the things that I did mention is that instead of all these resiliency studies, that we do something about the Neuse River. And that's draining the Neuse River from Raleigh all the way down to the end of Onslow County, or I guess Carteret County, and which we know, because of all the contributaries in that river, if it's cleaned out, we would stop 75% of the flooding that we get. My question was answered with we're going to do a study. So that's where the lieutenant governor, the governor likes to do studies. So I said to him, that doesn't help us this year when we have a hurricane. But that's pretty much what the meeting was about, that and Highway 70, and it's about time Highway 70 got started. We're about 2 years behind on that. So fortunately, it's going to cause some traffic problems, but in the end, I think we're all going to enjoy it because, as we know, James City was the 4th worst intersection in North Carolina. And once that's taken care of and we have a 3-way highway going down, all the way down to, I don't know how far down it's going to go, but Havelock is 47% complete. And I can only see good things happening with that road, and eventually at some point we'll hit that, we'll be able to get down to the shipping in Morehead City and get to a bigger area to bring in bigger boats. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, I have nothing this evening. Anything else from the Board of Commissioners staff to bring before us? 7 o'clock. We usually are starting right now, so we didn't do too bad tonight. This is a change for us, 6 o'clock. So we try to get out the message to the citizens across this county to give them the opportunity to get here earlier also. And so I think one thing has been achieved tonight. Staff is going to be able to get home a little bit early to be with your family, so that's good. All right, here nothing else to bring before the Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Any discussion on the motion? Hearing all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.